Hello, everybody.
Hi guys.
We're joined once again by Brian from Anarchy Models, and we're going to be looking at some organic stencils.
Yeah, our Creature Feature Stencils have always been some of the most popular ones, so we're just going to be adding to that continually. So there's a couple more patterns we've got here today to add to that range, and there will likely be more added during the Kickstarter as well. This is just the ones that we have to hand ready right now. So this is what we're calling draft skin, but obviously you could use it for whatever you want, not just your battle drafts.
Yep.
So there's different sizes of that one, and then we have a similar sort of pattern, only you have gaps between the shapes. This gives this extra layer of pattern, and we're calling this one Blenny because there's a fish called a leopard Blenny, and we've got lots of sizes of that one as well, ranging from pretty big to probably small enough that the camera doesn't pick it up great.
Oh, it'll pick it up, don't worry.
There we go. So we'll just do a quick demonstration that some of these can be used without an airbrush. So we're just going to do a quick technique using a stippling brush to show that you can use them without the airbrush. So this is the brush we'll be using, which we'll be doing on the website. You want a nice flat end on it, firm but very soft bristles. You don't want really wiry bristles. A bit like dry brushing, you'll be getting some paint on the brush, removing quite a bit of it, and then we'll be using a stabbing motion to get it through the stencil. And you want to hold it nice and tight to the model and only use it where it's actually touching. You won't get the nice fade out overspray as you do with an airbrush, but it is a way to get some nice patterning just with the brush. And we'll just stab the paint on in the area we need it. You could, if you had a second brush ready, put a second colour through it while you keep the stencil in place.
Fade one to the other then.
Exactly, yeah.
Do you attempt to go for coverage in one pass, or is it better to try and build up?
You want to try and do coverage in a few passes, really. So there we've got the dots. I probably would try and get a few more in the top there. Just do a quick section of this bit. But you can't move the stencil while you're painting. And if you do need to do two colours through it, you'll need to be able to change brushes one-handed. So you probably want a second brush ready to hand, or just blend in a new colour with the same brush. So there you've got your pattern there, and then once you give that a wash to blend it into whatever the skin tone might be, you have some patterns there. And you could also do it equally along the actual ribs of the wing, or on the muscle structure of a creature. So like there. So just a few examples of how you can use them without an airbrush to get a similar effect. And again, once you've washed it in and give it some shading, that'll look nice and interesting.
Fantastic.
So cracking on with some airbrushing. We'll just quickly show you what the stencils look like on the paper there. So this is just a light pass through. This is a more heavier built up colour. So we have the draft pattern there, and then the bigger sizes. And then this is the one of the smaller patterns of the Bernie pattern. This is probably the biggest that we'll do. So it just shows you the sort of thing that they'll do. And these are useful on all kinds of things. As we showed in a different video, you could use these to create a camo pattern. So you just make some wavy shapes through the stencil to create a camo, like that, or however you wanted to do it. But they are great for use on creatures. So same sort of thing, we can use this to create some nice texture on our wings. Lots of models have big flat areas on the wings, and this is great for doing that, and you get a nice fade out overspray. The paint I'm using is Vallejo Ink Flesh Wash. It's called a wash, but it is really just one of their inks. So you get the idea of what that's doing there. Or on something like this, we could use the blenny. You just fold the stencil around the wing area.
Mm-hmm.
Build the colour to where you want it.
That's a great effect
and,
there.
If we give that a wash, so the edge is a bit darker, that'll really blend that into the creature. Let's do the same creature, but the draft pattern on the other side. Obviously, any colours you like. This just happens to be the colours I had in the airbrush. So there I'll try just to hit more the bottom edge of the wing, and it fades out going up.
It adds an awful lot of interest and realism to it, especially with some large wing creatures. They don't have a ton of sort of detail on the actual wings, the skin themselves.
Some of them do, but some of it is very flat, and they might have the odd little hole, but some of it is really smooth as a skin wing would be. But to make it more interesting as a model, adding something like this really adds a lot of interest to it, and the airbrush gives you the nice fade out, which gives you this nice organic fade out here, which would be very difficult to do by hand.
Yeah.
You can use all sorts of things. We have some lobster warriors here from Ashuna Minis. They're great for this sort of pattern as well. You just pick out part of his shell area. Good for use on your space bugs. So there you've got the pattern along the side there. And one way you could use this is to then blend that into the background colour of whatever background colour you're going to use for the shell. Obviously you do the other side before you do this, but this is what we're doing. So then have your pattern, the background colour of your shell, and once you give him a wash and maybe a little highlight, it's going to look pretty sweet.
It's interesting with the natural designs. You're saying obviously one's based on a fish. Do you find you spend a lot of time researching particular animals for patternation?
Yeah, there's a lot of. I mean, we're looking to create a stencil to use on creatures, so why it makes sense to look at natural creatures, and there's some very weird and wonderful patterns in our real nature that you wow, is that real? And you can come up with some great designs or variations on real patterns that we can use on our creatures and make them look more realistic and a lot more interesting than just a big smooth area.
I've been modelling a lot of dinosaurs for the Drowned Earth using some of your stencils.
Well, we have a dino-ish creature here. This is from Aniara World of Twilight.
Oh, yes.
And this is another great example of what we can do. He's like nice mini with lots of nice textures. But if we use something like this, we can put a nice big pattern down his back to add a bit more detail. I'll do this in sections rather than try and do it in one go. I might use a slightly bigger stencil for the bigger bit of his back, or her back. It could be a girl dino, or it could be a nondescript gender dino, but you just don't know.
Don't know, and I'm not checking.
No, exactly.
It is nice being able to go up the incremental steps in the stencils as well.
Yeah, can be tricky getting it to sit nicely sometimes, but once you find a good area to do it on. So yeah, there we go. And you just continue that as much as you wanted around the creature, or picking out major muscle groups such as on the leg here. That can work quite well as well. So yeah, all sorts of things you can do with the organic Creature Feature Stencils. And again, this is just a couple of designs that will be in this Kickstarter. There will be more by the end.
Fantastic stuff once again, Brian. If people haven't already played around with them, there's already a nice selection of Creature Feature Stencils.
Yeah, there's lots on the website already. There's lots of videos, both that we've done with you guys and that I've done myself on YouTube. If you just search Anarchy Models on YouTube, all my videos and all their videos with me will come up, showing off some of the other Creature videos.
There you have it, folks. Keep your eye out for these in the Kickstarter. They are a terrific way of just adding so much additional detail and intricacy to a model for very little effort, which is always worthwhile, I feel. If you have any questions, please drop them below and we'll pass them across to Brian. Until next time, bye-bye.
Thanks for watching.
Go ahead and check out our other content on screen now. And while you're at it, why not hit subscribe and remember to ding our dong. Go on, you know you want to click it. Go on.